First to CNN, we have a new piece of evidence that Michael Cohen promised in the statement he would deliver. This is the check that Michael Cohen will provide to Congress today, again under oath, that he says and shows on this check is from Donald J. Trump, 725 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York. It is dated August 1st, 2017. He was president of the United States when he wrote this, and it is signed with the president's signature on the bottom for $35,000. Cohen says this was the reimbursement, part of the reimbursement for the payments to Stormy Daniels. This is evidence that Michael Cohen is providing, Jeffrey. What does it mean?
Well, just to put it in context for people, Michael Cohen has pleaded guilty to facilitating an unlawful campaign contribution by giving money to Stormy Daniels for her silence. That is one of the crimes to which he pleaded guilty for. This is money that went from this straw company to Stormy Daniels. This check, according to Cohen, is a reimbursement for the money that he went to that went to Stormy Daniels. So if it is what Cohen says it is, if that check is the reimbursement, obviously we don't see it on the face of the check, it is participation in a criminal conspiracy.
While he's president, Jeffrey.
While he's president,
August 2017.
Yeah. I mean, there's just. And again, I think we always need to put in this important caveat, is that if the surrounding circumstances are as Cohen describes them, this is a part of a criminal conspiracy to violate the campaign finance law. Can I just say one more thing, Jeffrey?
It's not just Michael Cohen who says this, because the payments are part of the Southern District of New York, the case that Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to. The Southern District of New York has convicted Michael Cohen for making these payments, and part of that conviction was the scheme to reimburse Michael Cohen after the fact. So it's not just Cohen who says this is a crime, it's the Southern District that says it's a crime, and this is evidence in that crime.
Correct. But again, I think we need to be cautious here. The check itself doesn't say anything. Now, there could be that the president's lawyers will come forward and say, no, this check has nothing to do with the payments to Stormy Daniels. This was a separate check, involving a separate payment to Michael Cohen for something entirely unrelated. We need to be aware that explanation may exist.
That's a great point.
And see what else, and see what other surrounding circumstances come to refute that or support that theory. But it is, on the surface, important corroboration of what Michael Cohen says about the whole Stormy Daniels situation.
I hear you, Jeffrey. It would be really helpful if the memo said, hush money payment for stripper. I'm sorry, porn star. Here's the dinner right now that the president and Kim Jong-un of North Korea are having. Let's listen.
Everybody having a good time? Yes, sir. You are? I hope so. One of the great photographers in the world. They make us look very good. I'll work on that. One of the great photographers.
이제 우리가 예전에 한 10분 한 20분 만나는 거예요. 우리 30분이라는 시간 동안에 아주 흥미로운 이야기를 많이 했습니다.
Very interesting dialogue. About 30 minutes.
We had a very interesting
Boy, if you could have heard that dialogue, what you would pay for that dialogue, it was good. So we're going to have a very busy day tomorrow, and we'll probably have a pretty quick dinner. And a lot of things are going to be solved, I hope, and I think it'll lead to really a wonderful situation long term. And our relationship is a very special relationship.
오늘 그 만찬한 다음에 또 내일은 소통이 아주 진지하게 회담할 예정입니다. 우리는 굉장히 좋은 관계를 가지고 있고 아마 성공적인 회담으로 생각이 됩니다.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Thank you, sir. I'll send you some of them, and I'll send them to the chairman. Hey, press, let's go ahead and
Okay, let's talk about what we just saw there. That was the president and Kim Jong-un having their dinner. The president seemed to be in very good spirits. He was expressing lots of jocularity there. Joe, he was saying, is everybody having a good time? I certainly hope so. There's a great photographer here. He said, I think that he was touching Kim Jong-un. He said, I think this is going to lead to wonderful things. We have a great relationship.
Yeah, I mean, this is stunning. In everything else that's going on, we shouldn't lose this. He used the word special relationship. Remember, our oldest ally in the world, the UK, talks about a special relationship. He is sitting next to a murderous thug, a guy who killed his half-brother, a guy who starves his country, a guy who threatens to kill millions of South Koreans and points nuclear weapons at him, and he is treating him like he's a personal friend. Again, we'll lose this because Michael Cohen will sort of bathe the news cycle. But it is absolutely stunning that he would sit there and give this credibility to that man.
And Jeffrey Toobin, I have to say, it's a remarkable split screen, a stunning split screen. He asks, is everyone having fun to that table, including Kim Jong-un, when Michael Cohen's about to testify in the United States?
No, I mean, my reaction was very similar to Joe's, that when you talk about people who have killed more people than, who are responsible for the deaths of more people than, there are very few competitors on the face of the earth. Now, we all recognize presidents have to deal with difficult foreign leaders, but the embrace of Kim Jong-un, someone who is such a morally reprehensible human being, the joyful embrace of him is something that, I think all Americans and all people around the world are going to have to evaluate on its own, for themselves.
Abby, the president just said good night, everybody. After that was the end of, I think, the photo op. So he said, see you tomorrow. But obviously, we will bring everybody breaking news from Vietnam as it happens. But back to this check that we are first on CNN to have in our hands. And this is what the president gave to Michael Cohen. As we pointed out, it does not, sadly, have a memo that says hush money payment to porn star. That would be helpful. So Michael Cohen says that this is reimbursement for the hush money payment. This is dated August 1st, 2017. You'll remember, of course, the Air Force One moment where the president was asked by reporters about if he knew anything about this. And I think the date of that was April 5th, 2018. Mm-hmm. So let's just remind people what the president said at that moment, and then you can respond.
President, did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels?
No.
Why did Michael Cohen make it if there was no truth to allegations?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's an attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael Cohen.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
I don't know. No.
Okay, so they asked, do you know where he got the money to make that payment? Here is what Michael Cohen on your screen says is the reimbursement that he says he got in increments. So you're seeing a portion of that, $35,000. And obviously, people are going to have to decide if they believed the president then or Michael Cohen today under oath. Abby.
Absolutely. It seems clear, though, Allison, that the president's answer to that first question, which was, did you know that Michael Cohen was making those payments to Stormy Daniels? All the evidence suggests that the president did know. Michael Cohen's alleging that this $35,000 check is just one of several payments that the president gave him in order to reimburse him for that amount. But it seems clear that the basic question here, what did the president know? Yes, he did know. And beyond that, Michael Cohen was the president's personal attorney. We used the shorthand to talk to him about that, talk about him in that way. But one of the things that the prosecutors have been making clear in this case is that Michael Cohen did not do that much legal work for President Trump. He was not really sort of doing lawyerly stuff for the president. He was the president's fixer. He was resolving sort of personal problems for the president. According to Michael Cohen, he was sending threatening letters to the College Board and to his high school and his college, talking about not releasing the president's transcripts. So it's not like the president was paying him $35,000 to do actual legal work here. The president was paying him to fix problems for him. This was obviously a major problem for him. And what's extraordinary extraordinary about all of this is also that President Trump is in a position where even if they're arguing that he didn't commit any crimes here, and I think that they're going to rightfully make that argument, there is an element of this in which the president is constantly faced with some serious moral dilemmas and does not ever seem to ever put the brakes on it. I think that's the other big problem for him from a communications perspective, from a public relations perspective, from the perspective of the American people looking at this situation. This is the president of the United States, time and time again, never saying, no, don't do that. That's wrong. That's maybe illegal. In fact, you see the president skirting the line in a lot of cases, but of serious, according to, based on what Jeffrey is saying here, he's the lawyer, potentially serious crimes here. And it's an ethical problem that the president has faced repeatedly.